Good morning, friends, on Zoom and on YouTube. We'll begin in just a few moments our daily devotional. Good morning, fellow pilgrims, friends, and neighbors. Welcome to our daily devotional at Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn. Very glad to have you join us this morning as we continue our study and our attempt to understand some things about the book of Genesis. So I'm glad to have you along. We are this week looking at Genesis chapter 45, which in many respects is the climactic chapter for the book of Genesis. It is the story of Joseph being revealing himself to his brothers in Egypt, and it begins the discussion of the transition of Israel, Jacob and his family, to Egypt. So this story is really has all the characteristics of a great literary tale. That is, that in this part of the story, Joseph has been working for many years and through many trials and tribulations has become the second most powerful man in the country of Egypt. He is responsible for all of the government of Egypt under Pharaoh. And now he realizes that his brothers have traveled because there's a famine. They've been coming to look for food, and they've been a couple of times now, and he did not reveal himself to them. But in this passage, he does finally reveal himself to them. And I want to offer a few reflections on this passage. So I'm going to read just the first 3 verses of Genesis chapter 45. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, "Send everyone away from me." So no one stayed with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him. So dismayed were they at his presence. So, extraordinary story. Joseph has already had an encounter with the brothers. And remember, if you have read this before, he asked the brothers in their first encounter that that they bring Benjamin, the youngest son, back with them. And of course, they're afraid to do this, but they have to. They don't have any choice. And they bring Benjamin back, and then Joseph does something. He's almost, in some ways, he's kind of playing with them or tormenting them, and maybe in his own mind trying to decide what to do with them, because he places a valuable in. He has one of his servants place a very valuable piece in Benjamin's pack on their second trip. And then he sends the soldiers after them, and they search them and find this valuable, and he brings them back, and it's made to look as if Benjamin had stolen this piece. And Judah is responsible for Benjamin, and he's pleading and pleading and pleading with Joseph until this is the passage that we come to here. Joseph is no longer able to control himself, and he finally reveals who he is to his brothers. And the first thing he does is that he sends all of the attendants and assistants away, and it's just so that it's just him and his brothers, and he reveals himself to them. And the first question he asks is my father still alive? I think that was the thing that was heaviest on his mind. Would he be able to see his father again? But his brothers were so shocked and became, I think, very much afraid when they realized who this was, because they, of course, had betrayed him. And one of the most extraordinary things about the book of Genesis is its ability to convey the complexity of human relationships. Because while the brothers are reconciled to Joseph, and Joseph shows them mercy, it doesn't happen overnight. And the book of Genesis conveys this fact. The brothers have trouble accepting that Joseph is actually going to be merciful. In fact, when later we learn in chapter 50 that when Jacob dies, the brothers worry that that's when Joseph is really going to come after them after the father dies. And he says, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to punish you for that. I'm going to take care of your children and your children's children. And this act of mercy was extremely difficult for the brothers to accept. And I think that is very, very reflective of humanity, of us, of how difficult it is sometimes to accept mercy and grace, and to be able to accept that we've been forgiven. And this text just conveys that so very, very well. And the brothers must continue to live and struggle with the consequences of their sinfulness, for their poor choices, even in the midst of Joseph's mercy. So let's close with this word of prayer. O God, who has ordained that we be set within a scheme of circumstance, and that in stern conflict we should find our strength and triumph over all, withhold not from us the courage by which alone we can conquer. Still our tongues of their weak complainings, steel our hearts against all fear, and in joyfully accepting the conditions of our earthly pilgrimage, may we come to possess our souls and achieve thy will. It has pleased thee to hide from us a perfect knowledge, yet thou hast called us for a perfect trust in thee. We cannot see tomorrow. We know not the way that we take. Darkness hangs about our path, and mystery meets us at every turn. Yet thou hast shut us up to final faith in goodness, justice, truth, that loving these for themselves alone, we may find the love that passeth knowledge and look upon thy face. Oh, suffer us not for any terror of darkness or from any torment of mind to sin against our souls or to fail at last of thee. Amen. Thank you for joining us this morning for our daily devotional. I'm Patrick Horn with Pilgrim Congregational Church, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.